All right, today we're going to look at, well, in my opinion, the best budget gas tank for an LS swap on your B body or A body or donk or Cadillac. And I mean the big body Cadillac, 90s, 80s. The only reason I say that, the best budget gas tank. The only reason I say that, the best budget gas tank for that build is because that's what I've used this particular tank in before, or seen them used before. A body being your Cutlass, your Monte Carlos, your Chevelles, maybe forgetting others. And then B body being your, your donks, or I'm sorry, your box Chevys, and then your donks, and I think a Cadillac's a K body. I'm not sure, but either way, this is my opinion, the best tank that works for that application when you doing an LS swap. Clean the tank up, it'll work just like a new one. It's plastic. What up? What is happening, good people? We're gonna look at these B body tanks and why I think they the best tank for, in a budget, for your LS swap. B body, A body. And I say B body, A body because those are the only two that I know that worked for me. They could work in other models. If you can look, feed, return, vent, everything that you already need for an EFI setup. Most EFI setups, and we're talking in-tank pumps now, and most EFI setups has to have those three things, because if you don't have any kind of venting, you create a vapor lock in your tank and starvation of fuel. We can look at, they're the same, they both come out of Roadmasters, but the same tank it's the same looking tank that you would have in a 96 Impala, 94 Impala, Caprice, Cadillac, and there may be one more, but Austin Brothers Racing had told me that piece there is not on the 96 Impala tank, so I could be wrong on that thing, but for the most part the tank is the same. The reason why I say they work in B bodies, which would be your box Chevys and donks, because they will fit in a donk, is this the profile. If you look at the exterior profile, it's the same as the metal tank. Plastic B body, metal B body. Do the comparison. As you can see, this still has that same riser, but it doesn't have a vent, and it does have a return, and it does have a feed. But what it don't have inside is a baffle, a pan, a sump, whatever you want to call it, because this is a carbureted tank. And it's a metal tank, all metal. You can get away with using this if you put what you would call a welding sump on the bottom, and then use an inline pump. You can do that, or you just do this. Either or. The big plus I see about this tank is you don't have to deal with it rusted. Now, you will have to deal with possible rust with the internals of this, but no rust of the tank itself. Because sometimes with a metal tank, car's been sitting for a while, you go to put just a EFI setup with an inline pump, and you pick up trash. It has a baffle in it with a tray, as you can look in there and see. What you see is that baffle, tray, whatever you want to call it, it's going to always hold fuel. That is where your pump's going to sit. So as long as that's holding fuel, you won't have fuel starvation issues in a curve or making a turn. I haven't experienced it, but from what I was told and what I've read, that if you have a non-baffle tank or non-sump tank on an EFI, And I think inline and in tank, you could have starvation issues, because when you go to turn, the gas shifts from one side of the tank to the other, which causes starvation, fuel starvation. Like I said, and with you having that baffle or that sump or that whatever you want to call that inside there, as you can see, that tray is going to be full of gas at all times. So I'm gonna pull the sending unit out, and we'll take a look at how it's set up. With it being GM, now I'm talking GM 90 ohm sending unit for the most part, is the most I think it is. This should work with all your other stuff too. You just patch the wire in and rock and roll with it. The gas gauge should possibly work. Can't say for sure, but should possibly work. If you notice though, let me put this, I'm gonna stand it up and let y'all look across the top of it. All right, if you look across the top of it, I don't know if I can zoom in. Okay, can I? Yeah, right there. You see the sending unit sticks up further than the top of the tank. See, this is it, the sending unit sticks up. Your trunk has to have that provision because of how much more this sticks up, and then again you also have these sticking up, how much more that sticks up. If not, you may have to notch your trunk, and then your tank will set up flush up against the bottom of the trunk pan. It's not a must. Your tank is set lower, not a must. And the reason why I say these work in A bodies, because I put one in the A body. But with putting one in the A body, the exact same thing that I told you just now had to happen. I had to notch this provision right here in my trunk floor because of how much higher this stuck up. If not, this distance, whatever this is, I don't have a tape measure, so whatever this distance is, that's how much further the tank was going to sit down below the bumper or below the deck. Now, you can do that. In an A body, you have to extend your straps with this tank. You have to extend your straps with this tank in an A body. I did. So I can't tell you how much, but you do have to extend your straps with an A body. And change up your filler neck, I want to say, in an A body. I'm gonna pull the sending unit out. We'll look at it. All right, what you got? 6 10 millimeter. Well, the socket is 10 millimeter, and then inside here you got all this going on. All this going on. The pump is actually inside here. Try to get this out without. All right, there it is. Okay. As you can see, there's still some fuel in that little tray, and that's where the sock sits. Pumps inside here. Whole bunch going on with this. This is your, of course, your float or your fuel gauge, vent, feed, return. Looks to me this one's been out before. This pump's been changed. Nonetheless, you do have an O-ring here that seals it all off. It sits in its groove. You pop this loose, pull your fuel pump out, pop you another one in, sticks through this hole. Secure it, plug up your lines, and you're good. You can go ahead and put your pump inside there, your Walboro 450, 250, or in-tank pump. Put that dude inside there, drop your sending unit back in, and you're golden, man. You're golden. You shouldn't have to deal with any fuel starvation issues. You shouldn't have to deal with any of that. There shouldn't be any dirt Now, today's fuel's trash. So you're gonna have some trash in the fuel, and the only way it's, to my opinion, how it gets in there sometimes is through the pump itself, or possibly through this line, because what it looks like here possibly looks the same on the inside. I'm not sure, but you shouldn't have to deal with the rust issues that you deal with on a metal tank. You can get a metal tank. This is just another option. You know what I mean? They are getting harder to find as far as the tanks go. Austin Brothers Racing let me know that two Walbro 450s, trying to run two Walbro 450s in the sending unit itself is not going to fly. Won't work. There's probably a spider setup that you could probably make and put in there and all that, but in theory it has to be standing straight up and down so it can pump us enough fuel. You can get an insert, drill you a hole. They make them. It'll make a hole just like this, just like so. Put it in there. You got a whole nother setup. You can add a whole nother pump here. They said here. That's where they ran theirs, and they ran the line back. So they got two Walbro 450s for that higher horsepower application. This is just an option. It's not a must. It's not a have to. It's not a, you know, I'm just giving you ideas, man. Giving you ideas. You have to have this cover that actually holds the pump in, the sending unit in. And if you also notice, these are quick disconnects, high pressure hose, quick disconnects. You can also use the high pressure hose clamps, which these are not. But you can use the high pressure hose clamps as well. My take on the plastic tank for the B bodies works well, man. And going back to the A body, you do on the side, you have to trim just a little bit of your bottom frame for the tank to get in there to set flush up against the floor because of the width of the tank itself. You got to trim the frame just a little bit, not enough that's going to hurt anything, and it sucks up in there like it's supposed to. You have to do this provision in your floor. You don't have to, but you can. But if you don't, your tank is actually going to set lower, actually considerably lower past the bumper, the back bumper, and which is still not a big deal. But again, you have to extend your straps on an A body, and she works well, man. She works well. If you're doing that, you know, the EFI LS swap on your A body or your B body, the best tank, in my opinion now, works on the donk, works on your A body. And what I mean by A body, Cutlass, Monte Carlo, Chevelle, you know, plastic tank, works. Like I said, pop in a new fuel pump, or just get a whole new sending unit, pop in a new fuel pump, and you go.